Thank you so much, Susan. I want to be like you when I grow up. Thank you, professors, staff. Thank you, parents. Mom, happy Mother's Day, love you. Just want a visual. And thank you, class of 2014. This is beyond awesome to be here. And as I was sitting here and like watching all of you all, I was sitting in Carmichael 13 years ago, and I definitely had a few too many blue cups the night before. I'm just getting it out there. Was it He's Not? I was. And I don't know if Time Out's still around, but I probably indulged a little late night chicken cheddar biscuit, whatever, it happens. And then the next morning, I had breakfast with my lovely family. So we're from Atlanta, so my baby brother, graduated high school the day before in Atlanta. So we were like bada bing, bada boom, Atlanta high school graduation up to Chapel Hill. So we all kind of had a moment, a collective breath that morning before sitting here at the Caroline Inn, having a little breakfast. And I'm just remembering it all, sitting here 13 years ago. And I actually made Susan pinch me. Did I make you pinch me earlier? Yes, she did. Because I'm looking out at you, at your new fancy, by the way, the new fancy blue Carolina robes. We didn't quite have your fancy version 13 years ago, but I still have my robe, and I remember I couldn't wait to go to the student stores to buy my Carolina blue robe and be so proud to be a Tar Heel and to graduate. And I just wanted to say a couple of things first before I get on to three stories I have for you. I think that, of course, we all remember, and you all were there in Keenan Flagler Football Stadium this morning, and it was hot, by the way, so thank God for AC in Carmichael. But I remember that was amazing, and you're really surrounded by all your class of 2014, but it's sitting in this room. You're sitting among your people. We are journalists. I mean, look around you. We are all, and I say we, I'm part of you. We are all taking this crazy, amazing leap into I think, the coolest profession that's out there. So we're all sort of in on this little secret. And what we share, which the others do not, is many of us know what Carroll Hall looks like when the moon comes up. And we know what Carroll Hall looks like when the sun comes up. Right? We have been there. I have been there. We know what it's like to make deadline for Sports Extra or the DTH or Carolina Week. For those of you in PR, yes, we knew going into Carolina, it's like 60-40 girls, guys, and maybe the J-school, it's a little bit different numbers. But so just specifically to you PR folks, I wanted to say, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations. To you in photojournalism and viscom and multimedia. I know you worked many hours in the wee hours of the morning in the dungeon, editing. To you graphic designers, I think you guys still had to pass the grammar and the spelling test to get into the J-school, but I learned a little nugget doing my homework about you all that you actually had to learn to code, show-offs. And in advertising, up-and-coming Don Drapers, you bonded over Professor Byers' pre-class jam sessions. I heard that was kind of fun. And to the reporting students, I heard about this JOMC 153, this 3.5-hour lecture. What? 3.5 hours. For those of you who could really sit through that, I hear C-SPAN is hiring. Congratulations. So I just have 3 short stories, and then I'll be out of your hair. But, I can only tell you about my own experience. My own experience is broadcast journalism and television. But I'm hoping that my 3 stories and my advice is ubiquitous for all of you. My first little story is, my little secret is that I almost wasn't a Tar Heel. What? I know. I graduated high school in Atlanta, and I went on to a lovely college in Virginia called the College of William and Mary. And that's where I went. Yes, I hear one cheer. And so I went, and I was planning on being an English-Spanish double major and going on about my merry business, and loved Williamsburg. I was very involved there. And right around the holiday, like Christmas break of my sophomore year in college, I had a bunch of girlfriends from my high school in Atlanta who came to Carolina, and one of them hitched a ride with me on up 85, dropped her off at Chapel Hill. Oh, and by the way, I was a tour guide. This is integral in the story. I was a tour guide at William & Mary, so I did the whole backward walk, and I knew I had it down. So when I came up to Carolina and I was dropping my girlfriend off, I had never been to Chapel Hill. And I start walking down Franklin Street and like seeing all the blue, and I'll never forget, I literally started to cover my eyes because why was I not here? Why was I in Williamsburg? And so I decided to take a tour. Just curious. We're inquisitive people, we journalists. And so I took a tour, and my tour guide, who became a great friend of mine to this day, he was a Moorhead scholar, Jesse Moore, thank you. He took a little extra time with me. So the tour ended, and the journalism program in the school was moving from Howell Hall to this place called Carroll Hall. And he was like, do you want to go sneak in and check it out? And I was like, yes. So we totally snuck in, sorry. We snuck into Carroll Hall, and we started walking around because that next fall would be the new, beautiful Bells and Whistles J-school. And I tell you what, I saw everything there, and you know when sometimes you just know? I knew. It clicked, it was in my bones. I hopped back in my car and drove up 85 to Williamsburg, crying. And who did I call? My mom. And I called my mom and I said, oh gosh, I think I found this really special place and I have to be a part of it. And she said to me, follow your gut and transfer. I literally applied the next day. I got in 10 days later and I became a Tar Heel. And I am so happy to be a Tar Heel. So my lesson number one, whether it is what career you choose, what city you want to live in, how many ramen noodles you can fit in your grocery cart. Sorry, we're not at King and Flagler. You're not getting your MBA. We're not making 6 figures yet. Follow your gut and listen to your mom. And dads. Story number one. Story number two. So from Carolina, and I've met so many of you, it's so interesting hearing some of you will get to move to New York and Washington and Atlanta and LA and San Francisco, the big cities. And some of you, like me, moved to places like Pigsnuggle, Arkansas, where, you know, 5 people watch you on TV or read your newspapers or see your pictures you take. And whatever you choose, that's right for you. But I think this advice will apply. So my story here is I started from Carolina in TV. There are 200 TV markets, one being New York, the big city, 200 being somewhere in Alaska, okay? So I went to 192. I went to Charlottesville, Virginia, and Dave Cupp, I have to point you out. Dave Cupp, stand please. This man was the news director in Charlottesville, Virginia, and hired me in my first job, and he is now on the faculty in this fine school. It's a bit of a coinkydink, but thank you for taking a chance on me and hiring me in this crazy profession. Yeah, always trying to talk. Voice and diction professor, let's listen. What is that? Woo, yes. Thank you, Dave. So I was in Charlottesville, I was hired as a reporter, and I was quickly promoted to weekend morning anchor, which meant, translation, I was going to work at 2 in the morning on a Saturday or Sunday. So when my friends in the big cities were calling me after having a few too many at the bars, I was saying, I've got to go to work. So I worked the wee hours in the morning on the weekends. I was like a one-woman newsroom. I was cutting my video. I was line producing my show. I was back timing it, which was tricky because we're not math majors. And I rolled the teleprompter with my foot. That's what I did. From Charlottesville, Virginia, I moved on to wild and wonderful West Virginia. I was a morning anchor there for 3 years. Used to sing a theme, early hours, welcome to journalism. And one Christmas, my parents, thanks again, Mom, for sending my brother to me. That was my Christmas gift, so I wouldn't be alone. They sent my brother to me. So one night, I did the 6 p.m. news, so you saw me doing the news. My brother was sitting next to me on the anchor desk. And after we did the news, we literally went to the 7-Eleven because I hadn't thought ahead about dinner. Nothing was open. Got some stovetop stuffing, and that was our Christmas dinner. And that was so emblematic of so many holidays I've had. I went on from West Virginia to Washington, D.C. I was a lead reporter. I covered a lot of crime. I worked with some of the best photojournalists I've ever worked with in my life. And TV people, you'll get this when I say you always offer to carry the tripod, okay? And here I am at CNN. I pinch myself every day. Somehow, for the last 4 years, I have had 2 hours of real estate at a 24-hour cable news channel. And I have a team. I have producers and writers and associate producers, and I even have someone who rolls my teleprompter for me. And I still work holidays. I just got the email last week that I was denied 4th of July and Memorial Day, so turn on the TV and I'll be there. I still work crazy hours. In fact, I was busted off a vacation 2 years ago. I was sitting on the beach. It was my one and only time. I left my cell phone in my best friend's house, and CNN literally tracked me down through my best friend's Facebook page to tell me to get on a plane the next day to cover a hurricane. True story. My point is, it is not glamorous. Be humble, okay? Story number 2, be humble. Story 3, is anyone from Massachusetts? Okay. So I was up in Boston. It was April 13th, 2013. There was a little baseball team called the Red Sox. Go Sox. And I had scored 2 really amazing baseball tickets in the Green Monster. I went to this game. This was the weekend before the marathon. I fly from Boston to New York. I was working in New York for the week. The explosions at the finish line happened on a Monday afternoon. I was on a plane the next day, hit the ground running, anchoring with Anderson Cooper on the next day. And little did I know that I would be in Boston for 3 weeks covering the investigation and the manhunt and the helplessness and the healing. And I made it my mission for the next year to tell the story of Boston. And I mean, I met some amazing people along the way. I covered this Boston Strong concert. I've interviewed James Taylor twice. We had a heart-to-heart over Chapel Hill. He loves this place. He's a wonderful man. Kevin Spacey, Donnie Wahlberg, yes, House of Cards, and Red Sox. I mean, it's amazing, but it's the story of, I'll never forget him as long as I live, Charlie Buchanan Jr. This guy, he was one of the firefighters who responded. You know, when everyone's running away from the explosions, this firefighter was running toward it. He'd been on the force for 41 years. He helped put the blanket over the youngest victim on Boylston Street, and he granted me his first and so far only interview. And I'm still humbled to this day that he took time to talk to me about what that experience was like. And it's still, these stories affect you here, and they affect you here. And I want you to know that whatever it is you're covering or you're writing about or you're taking pictures of, it is not about you. It's about them. I'm going to say that again. It's not about you. It's about them. We're all in on this little secret in the career of journalism, and you will love it. You will hate it some days. You will fail. You will pick yourselves back up. You will work holidays. You will make your parents very proud. And one day, I guarantee you this, I was just telling a PR major last night, I guarantee one of you in this room will get the most crazy phone call years later from the dean, hopefully still this one, who will say to you, we would love to have you speak at the J-school commencement. And you'll be like, oh, of course, yes, I'm honored. And then you'll put the phone down, and you'll do that little dance that you danced, like I danced in Carroll Hall when I got my job in Charlottesville, and maybe you did the little quiet dance as well, and maybe hopefully you will soon. And then you'll call your mother, and you'll tell her she needs to be there, and she is. If you remember nothing from what I've said standing up here, it's that we all have to remember that we are all Tar Heels, okay? So when you ultimately make your way to that big, bad, awesome job and your inbox is like crazy full, and the last thing you want to do maybe is send that final email, and you start getting emails from Tar Heels. Hi, Miss Baldwin. My name is, Taylor Gray. I'm a graduating senior in the broadcast sequence, and I just really want to... You stop what you're doing. You stop what you're doing, and you take the time to respond. Can you promise me that? Nodding? Okay. Because they're Tar Heels, and you are Tar Heels for life. Do not forget where you came from. So with that, y'all, congratulations. Go Heels. Go class of 2014. Go get 'em. Go get 'em.
I didn't know, I'm not tall enough. I didn't know that she wasn't always going to be UNC, but we want this gorgeous picture of the well with this marked day to hang in your CNN office so that she will remember the day that she told all of you she'll answer your email. Don't forget it.